Good evening, all you sexy stackers out there. It has been a bit, and things are starting to shake up to where we can do this more often. So I think, I'm thinking I'm back. Like instead of my best, John Wick. Anyway, appreciate all of you guys who stopped in early as we get this kind of kicked off here. We've got TFT, Ant of Egypt. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Mr. Roadkill 80. We got the big green stacker. Thanks everybody for hanging out here. Roadkill coming in already saying, Chunk Silver's great, but not the stack. That's my opinion. Refiners are always just going to want 9999 and 999. It makes their life easier and it's cheaper for them to make the big Comex bars. Yeah, 1,000 ounces right there. Anyway, awesome. Excited to be back. I really do think that I'm getting my schedule, just so you guys know, a little personal life stuff here. My schedule ends in 2 weeks for coaching 6 days a week with games intermixed and stuff like that. So it's been pretty hectic, but we're getting there. Mr. Thousandaire Radio, welcome. Funny, next segue here. The conversation going to be today is I'm going to get back onto this topic, back onto the conversation about junk silver, constitutional silver, and what I'm stacking still and what I'm still buying and bidding on and doing all that kind of stuff with. Because I do still believe in this stuff, even though it's lost a lot of luster in some people's eyes. But you know what? That's how cycles work. Sometimes she's a 10, sometimes she's a 5. The cycles go up and down, up and down. So we're going to ride this wave, and I'm always looking out for a long term. So that's going to be on the docket. We're also going to do a little bit of charting, talk about the channel that we've been trading in with silver, have some fun with that, talk about where my buy prices are and where my hold prices are. Because I'm not selling, but I definitely hit a holding pattern at certain price points, and I just kind of want to talk to you guys about that. We'll go through some examples here, and yada yada yada. Also, I have a special thing for y'all coming up soon, because I know you guys are thinking, you guys are going, damn, I'm guessing that Silver Dragoon is one handsome mofo, and you know what? Maybe we have to change up the stream a little bit. We'll see here. Just a reminder, we are the no shill zone, coined by Thousandaire himself. We are the no shill zone. We do this for ourselves. We don't make videos just to sell ad dollars. We don't make videos to pump our own, whatnot channels or our own marketplaces or anything like that. We're just here to talk about, our honest opinions on these things, and we can be right, we can be wrong. Doesn't matter. We share them as a community and we have some fun. What is this book, by the way? This is going to be the next book of the month here, boys. Let's switch over to this. Are you ready? Hey, look. Switch over here. And what we've got is we have the Game of Life and How to Play It, aka a summary of the Holy Bible, Old and New Testament. But anyway, no, I was bringing this out because that's the book I am currently reading. And as I'm reading, here we go to this. Hey, everybody. My name is Silver Dragoon. Great to meet you. We can finally meet face to face. Okay, there you go. Hi, nice to meet you all. Anyway, I know you've been trying to put a face to the lustrous voice there, right? Anyway, just kidding. Hey, Canna Stacker, how are you? Welcome, baby. Or PM, yeah, PM will spill. I'm not gonna knock Reddit, PMs for sale, private sales, eBay. I'm not saying those aren't good places to go out and find great deals and find unique varieties of things that you want to buy. I'm not having that conversation. I'm just saying. That's not the purpose of the channel. The purpose of the channel is just to have honest, good faith conversations about precious metal investing, basic finance, stuff like that. So here we are. All right. No shill unless you're interested in a limited time share opportunity. The hardest. Yeah, exactly. No shill unless you want to send me a whole bunch of something. What's up? Don't be fooled. How you doing? But yeah. So this is a book. I just started picking up this book. I have not read this book. I'm one chapter into it. This is a very thin book, so this is probably going to be like an hour or two read. But so far, just off the base introductory, one chapter in the prologue, it seems like a book that is going to be really nice. It's about mindset and sort of like, I guess, kind of like the biblical manifestation of positive thoughts, reaping what you sow kind of things, like why are you, fearful, oh, ye of little faith, that kind of prophecy type stuff where you kind of build in your own mind the positive outcomes that you desire in life, and that because you're doing that, it sort of helps you obtain those things. So I'll have a better synopsis of it all once I've read it, obviously, and I can kind of see if I really recommend it or not. But right now, if you're interested in just playing along, it's a cheap book, small cheap book. Picked it up. It's been around for like 100 years, so any book that's relevant for 100 years probably, I would assume, has some sort of beneficial information out there. Hour to read that take with probably the rest of my life. Read that book. I hate reading. I love reading, man. I love reading. I read every single day. Every single day. It's typically how I go to bed. Is I read, you know, a good 30 to 45 minutes. Pound through as much as I can. It's just like any other muscle, right? You train your ability to read and stay focused by just doing it, just like meditation. How's it going, Kalilo? Kalilo Live. What's up, man? Appreciate you guys. Yeah. So, what are we gonna do today? We're gonna talk about 90% silver, and big part of that. Shout out, let's switch gears here real quick. Big part of that is because of this video kind of just got the juices flowing, to be honest with you. This is Common Sense Christian Financial. I watch most of his videos. I think he and I sort of see finance and sort of risk tolerance and security through money and the objectivity of what money can do. I think we both hear that kind of, we both believe in that kind of like methodology of sort of slow, calm, comfortable, taking, you know, calculated risks with your money and your business ventures to sort of grow your wealth over time and in a reasonable, responsible way, right? So anyway, love his videos, can't recommend him enough. But he had a conversation about how much junk silver remains. And this is a conversation point that I think is pretty important because we're talking about stacking, right? Stacking isn't just like weight. I mean, it's primarily weight and weight over a long period of time, right? So, you know, in my mind, stacking and investing, sort of those terminology kind of go hand in hand. It's like, and they're also both, I think, very often like they carry the definition of the person speaking about it, if that makes sense. Stack gold and stay sober. Life works its way out. There you go. I like it. Don't be fooled. Exactly. Don't make it any more complicated than it needs to be, right? Just stack your gold and silver. Be a good person and you know, kind of help people when you can. It'll all work out. Exactly. Did I hear PMs for sale? You did, Kalila. Welcome. Also, Kalila, I was wrong. I don't have 40 transactions. I have 30. So I was a little bit foreshadowing there, but I'll get to 40 eventually. So that's what we're kind of talking about, is this idea of stacking. And I look at constitutional silver as kind of like this thing that walks an interesting gray area, like in between situation, right? What I see is constitutional. Yes, it contains silver, but obviously we know the refinement process is a little bit more technically involved, takes a little bit more time, right? You have to use other resources to get this pure silver out of it. So it's not as desirable for the refiners as 999 when there's enough in the market of 999 to supply the refiners. Now, if the refiners need to make 1,000-ounce bars and there's not enough 999 being supplied because for whatever reason people are hoarding their silver and there's not much selling going on, and the LCSs aren't dumping it all on the refiners and wholesalers, right? In a world like that, which has happened in the past, like this isn't speculation as of like a weird scenario that might never happen again, right? This is like a real scenario that has happened in the past. You know, think like the late 60s and the 70s, 80s, like that era when, you know, refiners were melting down everything, right? There's been eras where there were premiums on constitutional because there was just tremendous hype and demand for it, but there wasn't a ton of supply, because when there's a ton of hype for something, people that own it want to hold on to it with tighter hands and they want to sell it for a higher price to drive that premium up. So anyway, yeah, what's up, bro? We're all back, baby. Just saw 32 face value Mercs for $1,500 on PMs for sale. I saw some good deals on eBay. I've got some eBay tabs up because I want to talk about that as a support to my argument, so to speak, today. So yeah, we're gonna go through all that. Anyway, this is what we're doing. We're just chilling, hanging out, talking. I hope you guys are all doing well. I don't even know who all's here, but if I haven't said hello to you, hello, thank you for being here. I haven't caught up on the chat too much. I got it on this screen, I got it on this screen. So if you see me go like that, now that we have the face out here, if I'm looking one way or the other, I'm trying to read your chat. If I'm looking dead on, I'm doing something intense, you know, like I'm focused, baby. Anyway, so there we go. Yeah, so he broke down, and I've done this before too. I even used AI to kind of corroborate his information. I created a little chart to make it easier for us to understand and see. But I had, you know, AI help generate some of the same estimates, and he's got the same estimates because the U.S. Mint provides the mintages, right? And, you know, if you have like the Littleton books, like I've got a Littleton book over here. If I open up the Littleton book, like it says the mintages of every year and every mint mark, you know, from that year on the back, so I can just add it all up myself. So I'm going to talk about half dollars primarily because that's the thing that I love to. Again, you can call it stack, you can call it collect, but I think that they fit both bills, and here's why. If you have something that is simply a collectible, right? No real intrinsic value. Well, I'm thinking like a collectible as in like, you can see behind me, I've got sports cards and, you can see coins. I got art, right? You guys haven't, I guess you guys have never seen my actual, this used to be my actual studio. So I have, trading cards signed. I have sports cards signed. I have gold, silver. I have artwork. I have all sorts of stuff back. These would be considered like just hard, straight up collectibles. Now, here's the thing about a collectible market, right? You are at the mercy of the interest and demand of that collectible at the time that you own it. And that's why often when you see higher end art pieces and higher end, coinage or something like that, talking stuff that sells in tens of thousands, if not millions of, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, there's timing in that market that you have to pay attention to because your item is not going to always be in demand, right? That's just a fact. There might even be some situations where, let's say you had a really nice rookie sports card of some amazing football player, right? And they get, they look like they're a for sure Hall of Famer. And then at the end of the year, they get convicted of some sort of like serious crime or something like that. And all of a sudden, there becomes like zero interest in that player and his cards. Well, guess what? You missed the timing on that. That doesn't mean that it was like a bad collectible at the time that you had it. Doesn't mean that you weren't speculating or looking at a prospect in the right way. It just means that your timing on when you bought it and offloaded it didn't match up properly. So you see in a lot of collectible markets, timing is extremely important. And I'll bring this all back together to 90% silver in just a little bit here. But I think you probably know where I'm going with it. But the point here is just that I see 90% constitutional silver as walking that in between. It can be both a collectible and it can be both a stack. Why is it considered a stack? Well, no matter what, it has silver content value in it. Even if it's only 50% of spot or 30 to 25% of spot. You guys get what I'm saying? It still has the intrinsic value from the base metal in it, which is different than, say, a collectible sports card or a comic book or a piece of art, because those are legitimately only in demand for the time period of which a very niche market might be interested in that particular item. Whereas this, wrong screen. Whereas this stuff here, right, the gold and the silver and the coinage. Hey, what's up, West Texas? How you doing, bud? Sorry, I didn't see you come in there. This stuff can have both collectible value and it can have that intrinsic silver weight value. Again, you may not always get the premium, you may not always get the price you want when you go to sell, but that's why you can wait. You can wait until you're in a market, in which case there is a higher premium on it. And then maybe if you were in a selling mood, you could sell then. I don't know. What do you guys think? In the next 20 years, do you think there's ever going to be a period where possibly junk silver might return to being 5 to 10% under spot at the buyback rate? Does that seem seriously? Does that seem totally unreasonable? Because I know, some places right now that are offering 15% back of spot. So a 5 to 10% increase in valuation over the next 20 years, comparable to spot. Does that seem like it's a possibility to you? Yes or no? Now, and I would argue like, okay, if you think it's yes, and let's just say you're currently buying at 10% back of spot, and you think the overall price of silver is going to continue to increase over 20 years, well, wouldn't that make it in that situation a good buy? Now, it can go the other way too. Like premiums could keep tanking from 50% down to 70% back of spot, and silver could drop to $32, and people are only offering, $10, spot value for your night. That's a possibility, but the question always becomes, is it more or less likely than other possibilities that you can think up, right? And that's how you make decisions on what you're going to put your money into, whether it's a collectible or a stack or an investment, a stock, a business, whatever. You weigh out all these scenarios, you think about which one is more and more likely and which one is less likely, and you go with that decision. You have to act, right? We can always speculate, but you have to act as well. What's up, ACA guy? How's it going? Thanks for being here. I always, just by the way, little side note, I do appreciate all of you guys having the same kind of conversations that we've had here on the live stream. We have the same conversations on the Discord channel. So it's always cool to see you guys come in and we can kind of keep that conversation going. whether it's from the video to the Discord or the Discord to the video, right? Okay. So here's the other thing. Let's keep this analogy going. If you don't mind humoring me here a little bit, okay? The other thing is when you, let's say we get a really collectible comic book. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna have a little Yingling lager here while we go. We got mustard and biscuits, baby. Mustard and biscuits. Hey, mustard and biscuits. I owe you something. I have not forgotten. I just got extremely backed up, but I have your display, your American flag display for coinage. I appreciate it. And I have your address, and I will be sending you something in the mail as a thank you as well. So I haven't forgotten. I just got really backed up. Yeah, how you doing, boys? How you doing? All right. So let's take the comic book, like Spider-Man. What is the Spider-Man number 300 or whatever it is? Like the super rare, like not rare, but like it introduces, I don't know, Wolverine or whatever. I don't know about comic books too well. It's an area of ignorance for me. Thousandaire, if you're still here, you can help us, educate us on what comic books are out there that are super popular. But let's say we had a Spider-Man comic book, and there were, 200,000 of them printed. Okay, the natural attrition of the high-graded books was going down at the beginning, right? Yeah, I'm not proposing anybody invest in comic books. Don't be fooled. I'm using it as the analogy. So let's say of the 200,000, let's say 100,000 of them, let's just say were red, used, red, shoved in kids' backpacks, dropped on the floor, crinkled up, dusty. So 50% of the population over, let's say, 30 years got kind of destroyed just from people using the product as it was intended to be used, right? So that would be the natural attrition of a comic book collectible, as opposed to like coinage, right? What is coinage's attrition? Well, it's not necessarily the use of it, if that makes sense. What's up, Amina? What's going on? Chasing that MILF. What's up, buddy? I don't know. I guess it considered it spam, but anyway, chasing that MILF. How's it going, Amina? What's going on? All right. So usage of this coin is not actually making it disappear from circulation, but it is impacting its condition. So we obviously have the quantity available as well as the condition. And so what if I were to tell you, like the Spider-Man comic book, at some point when people realize that the Spider-Man comic book is collectible, what they do is they send them off to grading companies, which locks in their condition pretty well, assuming that you're protecting it properly and, you're keeping it from UV light and moisture. Oh, you get my point. So that population of high quality Spider-Man comic books becomes stagnant because it becomes a collectible, and the collectors keep it on their shelf. They protect it. They no longer get reader copies where they're going to bend the pages and tear the pages and read through it and put their oils of their hand on there, right? You get what I'm saying? Are y'all following me? Yes, no. One, you're following my logic here. Two, you're not. And I'll try to keep going deeper, but I just want to lay out the idea that I think 90% kind of walks the line of both a collectible and a stackable. So we're sitting here, and these things, how we lose these, right, is these get lost. They get thrown out in garbage. They get lost in the earth, right? Somebody drops one and nobody ever finds it again. It gets buried or whatever, right? These get dropped in shipwrecks or something. These also primarily, though, get melted down. So what if you have something that is scarce? It's not being created anymore, just like the Spider-Man comic book, right? Nobody's going to make those anymore. They're not going to reprint them. They're out there. They're done. But at the same time, there is an aggressive destruction of this product, which is going to cause the quantity of them to be lower and lower and lower year after year after year. Okay? Eventually, the high quality versions of these coins, the population will be very, very low. There is estimates that, like, a conservative estimate is that there's only like 25%. Only 25% of the, I'm looking at just the half dollars right now, just so you know. Most of this conversation is going to be specifically about half dollars, but obviously you can do your own analysis the same way for dimes and quarters and Morgans and piece dollars, all that stuff. But I'm going to primarily talk about half dollars because half dollars is what I love, and I probably shouldn't promote half dollars to people and make them want them more. But This is why we're going to talk about it. Just have fun. West Texas, I made some pesto. We're making some pesto pasta. You got some fresh basil ground up in that thing. Nice, Galilo. All right. So we have something that is actually collectible. The collectible key dates in good quality definitely demand a massive premium, right? The population of high quality ones and in general, the quantity is decreasing year over year over year as the melting from refineries continues to happen. And it also has the intrinsic value of the silver in it. So TLDR, right, is my like pure justification for why I still do believe in 90%. Although the season that we're in right now, the cycle that we're in right now, obviously shows that sterling and jewelry is worse off than 90%, metals, right? But it's not like you're getting zero for them. And that's in a really bad market. That's in a market where wholesalers and refineries flat out told LCSs that they were not going to accept them, and we can still get 10-15% back of spot, even in an environment where a lot of bigger businesses that would basically take these off the books of the LCSs to support them. Even in that environment, we're still seeing pretty decent prices, in my opinion. I mean, 25% back of spot at $100 an ounce, right? It's $75 an ounce. I mean, come on, like, let's be real. That's still a pretty good price, right? Not the end of the world. We're not talking like you're getting, you're getting like a 1,000-year-old Twinkie for a $50, right? Like, you're still getting decent value out of it. So, and I think in the video here, right? In the video, Common Sense Christian Financial says something like, I have a hard time calling something junk that sells at $76 an ounce. I mean, that's great. I agree. I disagree with the Gabagool. I mean, obviously, I think you just popped in. You probably missed the whole explanation of why. But now, right now, okay, what can we get? Let me reach over here in the far depth. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, we have American Silver Eagles. It's so much better, right? No, it's the same. It all ends up being the same crap. You know what the difference is, though? Is nobody's really gonna care. Nobody's really gonna care. For a long time, how many American Silver Eagle bullion 999s were printed from the U.S. Mint? It's not really that big of a deal. And you know what they're going to care about even less? Generic Buffalo rounds, generic Sunshine Mint rounds. Those are legitimately traded as bullion at dealers and wholesalers and refiners. They don't care. They melt it down just as much as they melt down anything else. They don't care. So it's like you get to the point where I really do. I genuinely believe over the next 20 years, we're going to come back to a season at some point in that time period where there's going to be more and more demand on these things as the supply shrinks and shrinks. Let's put this into perspective as well. So looking at this chart right here, okay, we've got this little chart that I pulled up for you. Okay, Barber half dollars were from 1892 to 1915. There was approximately 136 million minted. Only 136 million. The remaining is roughly 20 to 30 million. There's also some people out there that estimate that there's significantly less than 20 to 30 million. Some people think there's only like 1 or 2% of Barber half dollars left. This estimate is on the like rough estimate across the board at 25% or so. All right. So it's probably more like 2 million, but let's just call it what it is, 20 to 30 million. Walking Liberties, they printed about 485 to 500 million. Printing is from my card game stuff, but they minted 485 to 500 million. There's roughly 80 to 120. Okay, about the same for the Franklins, about the same for the Kennedys. Kennedys are a little bit more because they haven't had as many years of circulation, and honestly, by the 80s, 90s, people really weren't, I don't think, using half-dollar coinage as much as, a dollar bill and stuff like that. So quarters and dollar bills were a lot more prevalent. So, but they also print in the billions quarters. They print in the billions dimes, right? But half dollars, they've always printed kind of a lower quantity. So the grand total here, right, of minted was about a total 90% half dollars. was about 1.52 to 1.53 billion of them. And they're estimating 300 to 400 million remaining. And that's, so let's say 400 million on the top end. Here's an interesting perspective for in terms of the collectability of it. If there's only, let's say, 340 million US citizens, right? It's not even talking about the globe, just US citizens. That kind of means that everybody can have one $0.50 of any type. Divide it up, you get a random $0.50 from this grab bag. 340 million people, roughly one. Everybody can have one. Okay. So if I have 10, I have 10 times the amount like of average, right? If I have 100 of them, well, I got like 500 laying on the table, right? You see the math. You can actually, and not only that, but the quantity remaining continues to decrease annually, year over year over year, as we continue to lose them. Some of them probably continue to get used and worn down, or they're in some kind of, some idiot like me keeps them in a bag that gets them rubbed up and they continue to like depreciate in quality, right? There's a lot of things that happen. So that's just talking about all of them in total. Now you take in, I don't have any great examples of like high quality ones. Kennedy's, most of them are going to be in high quality, but like you get further back into the walkers, right? Like finding walkers with, eagle feathers and the dress and everything like being presented like really good quality, the number of those remaining is even less and less and less. So I'm not, again, we're in an era, a cycle where these are undesirable items. We got people, people coming in the channel right now saying it's junk, right? It's garbage. Nobody should stack it. That's perfectly fine. There's also people when Elon Musk first bought Twitter, and there was this massive campaign to kind of like defame Elon Musk. There always is one. Tesla's stock sank a significant amount. I don't have the exact percentages right now, but it was very large percentage that Tesla stock sank. And in that era, many people were saying that you shouldn't touch Tesla stock with a 10-foot pole, that it's a bad stock, it's a bad business, they're never going to be profitable, this and that, like Elon's crazy, what is he doing, he's going to destroy all of his businesses, throwing all these billions of dollars into this. Well, guess what? All of those people who said that about that particular company then were absolutely incorrect, and the people that didn't care and they just kind of did their thing and invested in a business that they believed in, they like 10x their money, so it is all sort of, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I think you just have to kind of find something that you believe in and just do it, and kind of cut out the noise and continue to focus and understand the why that you're doing what you're doing. Are you guys with me? Am I completely wrong? I can be completely wrong. Halves are the perfect size in your opinion, considering silver dollars. I'd rather just get a sovereign mint piece for your spot. Yeah. I like the $0.50 a lot. $0.50 is obviously my favorite piece of 90% silver. I agree with you. I think the size is great. I like the way it feels, the weight of it. I like the way it sounds when you kind of like clank them together. I like the fact that they are a larger image, so I can just see the artwork a little bit better. The Morgan and the piece obviously have a little bit more of a palette or whatever, a surface for you to kind of look at the art. But there's a craftsmanship in this older stuff. I work my way backwards as well. Please don't tell anyone, but I have more than one $0.50. Yeah, I feel you. Me too. Just don't let the secret out, okay? I feel like, the $0.50 is a great size. The dime, I'm not a big fan of the dime. It just feels too light. I feel like I'm going to lose it. I can't put it in my palms, my grip. It's a little too small for me, but I understand it's like the massive denomination, the visibility of the silver, so to speak. I'm not somebody, by the way, just so you guys know where I'm coming from, I'm not somebody who I don't ever believe in my lifetime that I will use 90% silver as a barter trade scenario. I buy it more on that collectible, stackable side. I do also buy American Silver Eagles, but the main thing that I stack is gold now. I've broken through more than 50% of my stack being gold, and I'm going to go from, I'm still currently trying to work towards 5% of my asset net worth being in precious metals, whether it's gold, silver, and platinum. So I'm still growing that, but I'm growing my gold now much faster in terms of valuation than my silver, because that's ultimately what I want. I ultimately want gold, but silver is kind of that fun thing. It's affordable, it's fun to collect, and I have a mission, man. I want to collect a lot of this $0.50 stuff because I really do see it as that thing that is in the current era is not appreciated the way that it should be. And I think that there will be a cycle that comes back where it will be. And it doesn't matter to me because I won't be selling it, but it will be kind of like a come back to this video, I hope, and we can just say I told you so, right? I hope that I can say that. You know, if in 20 years it doesn't, maybe I should just make an offer to buy everybody's junk silver back of 10% back of spot right now. You know, in 20 years, if it hasn't happened, come back to me and I'll buy it all for 10% back of spot, right? What's up, Kalilo? I have bartered with 90% one piece dollars for some high quality honey. Yeah, that actually, yeah, I'm not saying I didn't say it wasn't going to be possible, Kalilo. I'm saying it's not my intention for why I'm buying it. I'm not buying it as like in case SHTF happens and I need to barter or something. Because in my opinion, what I'll be bartering with is food, shelter, clothing, right? Goods and services, more than a form of currency, if that makes sense. Yeah, anyway, that's just me. Again, I could be dead wrong. I'm not saying, I'm not going to try to give any opinions or cast any judgment on anybody else and what they believe, but I'm just expressing myself and kind of, you know, going with it. What's going I'm 100% in gold. And you're 100% in gold and silver. Don't be fooled. So you're saying like all of your investments, assets you're just all in on gold and silver? Yeah. I mean, you've done really well the last 2 years. If, you know, that's the case, you know, the prices have definitely gone up well above their historical annual averages. If we go back to their annual averages, you know, whatever, but the last few years, it's definitely paid off. 90% is probably one of the best way to stack weight, and is by definition fractional. Yeah. I've got a whole video where I kind of laid out rationale for like why I like junk silver. But yeah, the basic fractionality of it, you know, you can, I don't know. I mean, you can stack weight if you want to stack it that way, but my argument for this video was primarily the fact that it can cross both ways, right? It can represent both a stackable and a collectible at the same time. Now, just to be frank with you guys, when I do my inventory, like, you know, everybody goes out there, you inventory how much silver and gold you have. I do not base my valuation of 90% or sterling silver at the spot price of silver. What I do is I take the spot price of silver and then I basically take 25% off of the valuation, and that's how I value it. So all I have to do is basically just update the chart, update the spot price, and my system automatically does it for me. So I can give you an example of that. But so like here, this is, oh god, I just got flashbanged. Like, so bright. Anyway, I need to turn on some lights and like brighten out here. But so I can update the spot price, and when I update the spot price, it tells me basically the cost of everything here, and I can just look like if I want to get, you know, whatever, $10 of this stuff, you know, it's going to be about 504. I can see the, you know, it's 26 face right now for, it's 52 face, so $26 per half dollar is the current fair market price at the spot. But when I do it for my inventory, I just multiply everything by, I take 25% off, right? So 0.75 of the value, and that's where I put it in terms of that valuation there. All right, so we laid out the idea of what I'm talking about here, right? We good? We got that? Got it all fine. All right, so going through here, I was looking at, you know, the information. We see that there's very little bit of this stuff left. I mean, again, if you have 100 of these, just a $50 face, you control a decent proportion of the market. It's kind of weird because it seems like so few coins, but when there's only, say, you know, 10, 20 million of barbers, right? Now you own a couple hundred barbers, and all of a sudden you are pushing, right? You're pushing a higher end of a person that has these. Now, LCSs and whatever, online bullion dealers and wholesalers, yeah, sure, they have a lot. They have a lot in storage, right? They own a lot of these things. But I can tell you this, I shop barber half dollars often online, and I can tell you barber half dollars are very, very rarely in stock from most bullion dealers. Almost all bullion dealers do not have any barber half dollars in stock. They did get some in stock during the whole massive spike of everything, right? Going from like 80 to 120, and they were bombarded with sellers. I don't care what anybody says. Hey, what's up, Serpents? How you doing, brother? tons of people were selling. Tons of people were selling into that market. And it was overloading LCSs. It was overloading refineries. It was overloading wholesalers. It was overloading bank lenders and stuff to these businesses. Like, it overloaded everybody, the amount that people were selling. And all of a sudden, I started seeing deals on barber half dollars back then, where they would, they would have them for sale at the same price that they would have, like, Franklin's and Kennedy's, which is, it's kind of unheard of, guys. Like, that's not really what they do. They normally have a bit of a premium above even walking liberties, right? Because there are so few of them and they're so old, and you're trying to get them. And these were like low condition ones, low premium ones. So really cool. Anyway, so I can tell you they're very rarely available, which means that they are pretty scarce. Whereas if I want to, I can buy Franklin's and Kennedy's at any time from anywhere. They always have them available. Walking liberties are a little bit more rare, but they still are pretty available. Anywhere you go, or online, or even like, if you go to your LCS, they probably have a junk bin. There's probably walkers in there. There's definitely going to be Franklin's. There's definitely going to be Kennedy's. So there's probably some walkers, but there's not always barbers. And if they do have barbers, what's up, Brilliance? Thanks for coming in. Good to see you again. If they do have barbers, they're probably going to have a higher price than the other ones, right? So that's just the way it goes. So, like, for me, I start from the back front. I know that barbers are going to always be the least available type of half dollar. So when I go to buy, I primarily focus on barbers and walking liberties right now, because I want to stack mostly those, because I feel like in the next 10, 15 years, as I'm still going through this journey of stacking these, I will be able to find Franklin's, and I will definitely be able to find Kennedy 90% in the future. So that's just my mentality. That's the way I'm going about it. Obviously, barbers and walkers were used a lot more as currency in trade back then. And those dates, that was a lot of money. So whereas Franklin's and Kennedy's, aren't as circulated and used. But yeah. So that's my explanation for kind of what I'm looking for. And I was looking at some stuff here, and like, here's an example. God, white is so bright. It's so bright. Can I offset it with another light? No, I can't. Here's an example. Here's a 1894 barber half dollar. This is just one coin. I get it, just one coin, but I wanted to show this because everybody acts as if 90% silver is just absolutely not in demand. And I think that's false. I think that you just can't go to your LCS and expect to get a fair market value from the LCS, because they're in business to make money as well. And if there's not a lot of demand for 90% at your LCS, why would they ever pay you close to spot? Because they know that they can never offload it. And if they sell it to a refiner's not going to offer them any amount of money worth anything that they want to deal with it. Their margins will be destroyed. And they don't want to be stuck with it at the same time, right? Is buying silver shot and then smashing it flat and stamping, is that stupid? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know much about silver shot, other than I think it's primarily used, right, to do pours, right? Or to like balance out like ounces, I guess. I'll post a mail call in your community. I'll post a mail call in your community too. I'm not sure what you're talking about, servants. Maybe you're talking to somebody else. Yeah. So here's an example. This auction is still going. Let me refresh here. This auction is still going. It has 18 hours and 1 minute till it expires Tuesday at 2 p.m. That's kind of a weird time for an auction to end. If you ever do auctions, by the way, on eBay, make sure you like have your stuff end at like 10 p.m. Eastern time. That gives the West Coast people a chance to bid and stuff, because a lot of people are at work at 2 o'clock. Just a little advice there. Okay, shipping for this item is $5.40, and the current bid price is $23.50. This puts this coin already at $29.90. So let's just call it, we are already at, hey, what's up, Rural? What's going on, baby? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. We are already at $30 for this barber. And this is an 1894 with Philadelphia, right? This is no mint mark 1894. This is not a special coin. Or sorry, it's a San Francisco. I apologize. This is San Francisco. This is a heavily minted coin. Not a key date, not special. And it's honestly, it's not even in that great of condition. If you look at this, edges are pretty much worn out on this thing over here. It's almost slicking up where you can't even read, right? America. This is not a great quality coin. You can't see the stars and bars, right? The face detail is like pretty much gone. But this coin is selling for $30 as of right now. It might even get a couple more bids as the auction ends right at the end, right? Scalpers and stuff kind of coming in here, or snipers coming in. So what will end up going to happen is, let's look at this. Okay, if the current spot price face value is $52 face, that means that these half dollars spot price, right, is melt weight is selling at $26 a piece. This one's going to sell for 30. And okay, so now we're looking at a 15% premium. This coin is selling for a 15% premium above spot. Nothing special about it. It's not graded. It's not. It's even, and honestly, it's even selling from a seller with 34. So I personally don't bid on any sellers that have under 1,000 transactions, because I think somebody losing an eBay account with 1,000 transaction is much more detrimental to them if they sold a fake or something like that. Whereas somebody with like 30, 40 sales, that's nothing. You could go to Goodwill and buy 50 t-shirts and sell them for $1 a piece and get 50 transactions pretty quick, right? So I don't trust any seller under 1,000 transactions. So I think if you're a seller on eBay, you should get out there and try to build up your transactions personally. But anyway, that little aside right there. But you guys get my point, right? And I understand this is not selling a lot. When people want to sell because they have emergencies or something like that, they can't just sell one coin at a time. I understand the nuance of all these little things. I'm just pointing out the fact that there are still people out there in the world who will pay a premium, even for something that is not even a premium part of the collection. Like, this is just a random barber in poor condition, right? In not great condition. That's a highly minted date and mint mark. So imagine, if you actually get some good ones, right? So we got that. Then also, yes, there are peer-to-peer networks that you can sell. You can check that stuff out too. I see them all the time. People buying up 90% at 5% or so, barely under spot. They will be listed, and people will buy them. They will be sold. It happens. So I kind of like trying to break the myth that like this is an undesirable product that you can't offload. You might have to do more work, right? You might have to start now to build up a reputation as a seller on different platforms besides just your LCS. But if all you're going to ever rely on for ever buying and selling your precious metals is your LCS, you have to understand that your LCS is a business, and you will therefore be always stuck with whatever they are going to give you. Whereas these other markets are more of a free and open market where other people can, you can solicit to other people, like Facebook Marketplace and all that stuff. Like there's other markets out there that you can leverage to offload things in an environment where the current LCS structure doesn't support them as much. You guys feel me on this? Yeah? Anybody? Or are you guys just talking about other things out there? SS Amina decided I'd enjoy my day off today. Oh, okay. You took the day off. Yeah, that happens. I've learned, like, you gotta take care of yourself. Like, it's fun to do stuff, and you get like in these moments, you get like in the fire and the passion rolling, and you do as much as you can, but then eventually you have to kind of set back. I saw Rural is doing some stuff, right? You're doing some hey, what's up, Christian's love?
Stay a while.
Well, what are you doing? You're doing like a fitness challenge, right? For like 90 days or something. Is that right? Dragon. Dragon. Who is that? Teresa Buchanan. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you being here. Hope you're having fun. Thank you. Let's see. You're about 5 shy from where I want to be for the 100-mile race. Man, that's an amazing feat. I could walk 100 miles. I could walk 500 miles, right? But I could not run 100 miles. I'd be gassed so quick, man. So that's awesome. Good endurance, man. Good on you for putting in that work. 100%. I don't buy or sell my LCS. No premium is the best, sir. Yeah, Christian love. And sometimes obviously your LCS can provide you good prices and fair prices on things. So I'm not trying to say don't ever use your LCS, but you shouldn't just depend on them solely for everything. You should weigh your options and have options. And then therefore you always just buy, in my opinion, just always buy from the best price that's out there, and always sell to the best market that's out there that's offering you the most money for what you're trying to do. It's not that hard to do. You shouldn't be, fearful of it. You just kind of do your thing, right? So I was finding that very interesting. I thought you might find that interesting. Like, this is a coin that's currently being bought at that price. Also, I went into this and I was like, okay, well, what are other people buying, right? So look at this. This Franklin, these are sold listings, okay? Sold listings. Let me see if I can make the screen a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay. I'm looking at sold listings here. April 25th, 2026. So relevant date. It's really recent. It's a 1961 Franklin half dollar. Whoop-de-doo. Nothing special. This sold for $25. Today's market price, I don't know what it was on April 25th. It's probably close to this. It's $26 a coin. This one sold for $25 a coin. You could ship this in a plain white envelope, right? If you really wanted to, for $1 or whatever a stamp is. So look at that. It sold almost for spot price, like basically spot price, right? February 10th, 2026. I don't know how many this is. Those $4.50, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't. 1, 2, 3. Those are dollars, $4. Okay, that's a little bit higher. Let's skip that one. All right. Here's a 1941 Walking Liberty. Nothing too special about the 1941. This is a okay quality, but again, you can't see a lot of the fine details. $25, one bid, boom, popped it off. This was actually a pretty decent price here. 100 February 20th, 100 US Walking Liberty half dollars. So if I were to use my little thing here, I can just go here. I can say $50, right? So $50 worth. The fair market price currently is $2,500. So they got this lot, this big huge lot right here. They got it for a pretty good discount. They got it for about 20% off, 15% off. That's a great price. They got a really good price. Only one bid. Straight up just got it for $2,100. Again, I would never in my life do that with somebody under 1,000 sales, but hey, good for them, I guess, if they got it. This is a key date, so selling for $9,250. We'll just ignore that one. Not a very good. This is I've got like 5 of these right behind me. These are commemorative George Washington commemorative coins. $27 plus $1.90 delivery. That sold for $28.90. Again, it's a half dollar. Same stuff. So anyway, I know this is just one coin at a time. And if you have to sell and you got to go offload like $50 face or $25 face, you're probably going to go to your LCS. I get it. But if you plan your kind of selling out, if you're trying to sell, if you plan it out a little bit, you can find places to offload some of this stuff. Again, just kind of giving some examples, just a little bit of examples of what I'm talking about. Terry Crews, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. But what I do know is that I must be really boring. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, all right. Silver price. This is where I'm gonna move into this. Also, here. Let me go back over here. Again, just a reminder, the book of the month, which it's gonna probably take you guys a day to read. But anyway, the book of the month is The Game of Life and How to Play It from Florence Scovel Shin. Lady wrote this, and yeah. So far, it's been good. It is essentially a summary of the Old and New Testament about how to live life and to, kind of will into your future the things that you want, right? If you want prosperity, believe and accept and be, and focus on prosperity, right? So silver, my queen. Here we go. We have 7270. I wanted to talk about silver for a while now. I've just been busy. Let's look at the 6-month chart. The 6-month chart, I think, is starting to look finally pretty healthy. We have had a while here where things have been a little bit chaotic. I would say the chaos was more serpents derailed you. I couldn't keep up. I just had we're talking like, was it Tumblewamba or whatever? What is that song's called? Chumbawamba, get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down. Is that what you're talking about? I'm probably just got copyrighted. Anyway, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Thub thumping. That's something. I can't remember the name of that song. All right, so we were to draw something here. Let's do a trend lines. This is 6 months, and we've had a pretty solid support structure in the last 6 months at around that $68 mark. Now, have we dipped below it? Yeah, that's the way things happen. Trend lines, you dip above and dip below every now and then. So we've had that. Other than really, it was what, October tub thumping. Okay, thank you. It was what, October to January 28th, where we had the massive, uncharacteristic run up of gold and silver. They went insane, and then they retracted back right at the February. It basically was a retraction month. So since then, we have been pretty solid here. Pretty solid. And so let's go here. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like now our new channel is going to be, let's do 2 channels here. I feel like we've got one right here for what's going to be in the near term future. And then let's go a little orange color here. And this one is probably going to be obviously like the more of a trend line of like where we were over the last 6 months. So we have this, I would call 68 to 90 channel over 6 months, but I think that a little bit of that is irrelevant because of the massive spikes at the beginning of the year with the retraction, right? So now I'm looking at it, and what I'm primarily focused on, let's go down to the 3-month chart now. What I'm primarily focused on these days is this. And this is the channel that I kind of want to be in, right? Is, let's go ahead and do the red again here. I'm looking more at like this. And this is what I am kind of, I'm explaining what I'm doing, like when I'm buying and when I'm not buying currently. So here's where my channels are kind of looking. All right. So this was a rough estimate, but it's like 68 to 78 or so, that $10 range. Essentially, when we are down like we are now, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, when we are in those ranges, I am in a go ahead and pick up silver. I am now comfortable that we have found some stabilization in this market, legitimately. Like, for a while there, I wasn't so excited about it because of, again, the massive run up to 120 kind of shell shocked a lot of us. At that point, I was like, I don't know anything. I didn't predict this. I didn't expect this to go above 100. I don't know what the heck's going on. So I kind of just sat back and enjoyed the ride like everybody else did, right? And then we had the big pullback, which, again, conflated and scared everybody as well. Like, it is like people were excited and scared going up to 120, and people were excited and scared going down to, 80 or whatever it was that we fell down to for that period. So here we are. I feel comfortable now. I mean, we've been months and months in sort of this channel. I feel like the people that were in it, the bad actors that were just throwing money in here, didn't really know what they're doing. They were like the tourists in the market, the tourists speculating on the COMEX and all that stuff, driving prices wild. I feel like they've kind of like chilled. They've chilled. The money's come in, they made some quick money, or they lost some quick money, and now they've kind of moved on to hopefully greener pastures somewhere else. That's what I like to believe. Volume's kind of relaxing. It's kind of standardizing. The COMEX contracts are starting to like stabilize and shrink a little bit, and it's starting to wash out and be pushed around. So not seeing any issues there personally. So I've kind of got back into the I'm comfortable buying again phase. I do think that ultimately we have a lower bottom that we might experience at some point in the future. But again, for now, I feel pretty comfortable not trading in this channel. But again, what I'm doing is, if it's, well, this reason I did, I'm not even showing the charts. You guys, I know you guys aren't paying attention. You know why I know you guys aren't paying attention? Because I just did this whole explanation for the last 15 minutes, showing charts and drawing on charts and charting. And not one of you people is even paying enough attention to the teacher here to tell them, hey, teacher, your whiteboard isn't on the screen. I see. Look at these guys. Look at what the hell are you guys even talking about? I got the 50 grand NPM bar for $130 shipped. Never gonna dance again. Guilty feet. I've got no rhythm. Oh my gosh. I mean, should I just go black screen and just play some music in the background for you guys? What is going on? It is crazy. Anyway, so this is what I was talking about. So how I'm playing this and looking at this is, I am on hold. When we're around $74, I go on a hold, a freezing pattern. I'm not buying. I might still be shopping to see what prices are currently doing, seeing if there's any like really good deals out there, but I'm on hold. When we get kind of below that 73 range, I am now aggressively I'm now you know how many charts you say? That's fair. You probably know what's coming up. But anyway, I am now looking for deals. I'm like, okay, where are we going to buy? If we get below the 70s into the 69, 68, 65 range, at that point, it's like, let's just pull the trigger on something. It doesn't really matter. Just find something. Buy a couple ASEs, or, buy $5 face value of something. At that point, it's pull the trigger. The Duke of Vegeta, what's going on? Welcome. Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate you. The pork sausage sounds good. Oh my gosh. PMS is for sale, baby. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, oh man. At least you guys can entertain yourself. I know that from now on in the future. All right. Any questions? Are you guys ready for your quiz? Anyway, let's do a quick recap here. I feel like I've lost everybody, but the main reason why I still believe that 90% constitutional silver, junk silver, still has a stacking portion is because I think it walks that line between being both a collectible and a stackable, and that ultimately at some point there will be a season again in the future where demand does sort of come back and the markets stabilize and the LCSs and refineries get caught up and stabilize. Cash flow problems kind of resolve themselves with the LCSs that survive this crazy volatility, and that things will stabilize, that the precious metals market will shift back from being like this weird, like speculative thing to back to being more like a hodgepodge of, quote unquote, like true stackers, people that are actually in precious metals for the long term, not just trying to get in for 3 months, make some money and flip it out into something else, right? I think eventually that'll all wash out. People will get bored and tired of it because it will go back to its like 10% annual growth type situation, stabilizing. And in that environment, we might see the premiums come back up closer to spot on the 90%, as well as the natural attrition rate of melting and loss that will keep making these things more and more scarce. I think will also promote the collectability feature in the future. So I am still buying these things. I'm still I love going to LCSs, and if I'm going to shop for something, on an LCS, like I always ask to see their half dollars. I always buy some, no matter what else I'm going to buy. I always buy some half dollars. And I do kind of the same thing when I'm online shopping. It's like you might throw in like $5 of half dollars or something while buying some gold or something like that. So here's what it is. Guess I'm in the back being bad too. You guys are all being bad. Amina, TFT, Kalilo, Serpents, Rural. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody's being bad. Right now, if this were a classroom, it would be pretty wild what's going on in the back. People passing notes, yelling, obscenities. So I would have Serpents would be up on his desk singing music with this boombox on his shoulder. Like this would be an insane classroom right now if this were actually anyway. Question for Dragoon. What are your thoughts on which coins to send in for grading versus keeping in capsules and tubes? Okay, well, it's gonna be I would tell you this. I am not good at classifying grades on coins yet. It is a skill that I do want to work on, TFD, and I think that I will actually do some adventures where I try to find higher quality coins in my collection, and maybe we send them in for grading and we predict what grade it's going to get, right? MS 58 or something, right? I will say though that if you get the red book, and I have it, I think I have it upstairs with my like cigar and tobacco area. If you read through the red book, you go to any specific coin and it actually tells you the qualifications for each coin to be in some sort of range. And then you can take like your magnifying glass or your whatever you've got, like I got the microscope over here, and you can go through and you can look for those like indentions, scratches, details, and you can kind of get a good estimate of where that coin might grade. Now, in terms of what you should and shouldn't send in, that is a much more financial question and motivation question, right? So if you're turning in coins because you're trying to find ones that are of a high grade that might bring in a good value significantly above what the raw coin would provide, then what you need to do is you need to look into something. What's up, Penny Scott? How you doing, brother? you will go in then into population reports of grading companies, and you will have to then look into auction sales, eBay sales, right? And what you're looking for is you're going to go, okay, what what does an MS68 sell for a walking liberty? Okay, what does an MS67 sell for? What does an MS66 sell for? 65 sell for, right? So then you're looking at it, and what you're going to find is there's going to be like the 69 or 70 is going to sell for like an absurd amount of money because there's just they don't exist, right? There's very few of them. But then you'll find like this equilibrium of the average grade and then a sub-average grade. So let's just say for this example, let's say a 67 and above demands an extremely high premium above. I mean get this white screen off the face. It makes me look pale as a ghost. Let's say a 67 and above gets a significant premium over like a 65 and lower. And then let's just say under a 64 or maybe a 63 or something, it starts to be closer to a raw value. Does that make sense? So what you would be looking for is like you would only send them in grading in theory if you believe it's going to get an MS65 or higher grade. If you think it's going to get a lower than that grade, you just don't send it in. You might pull it aside. You might put it into, a little paper clip or whatever and label it, what you think it is and keep it protected, or keep it in a tube, right, of like VGs or something. But in my opinion, you only grade a coin. You would only take the time to send it off and pay for it and all this if you think it's going to be graded at the scale above where the graded price is equal to what roughly a raw price would be. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm basing this off of grading of other things, comic books, video games, trading card games. But at the end of the day, it's the same principles of why would you get something graded and certified if it's going to be junk, right? Now when I said there's also the like emotional motivation of why you might get something, like let's say your grandfather passed you a silver Morgan dollar, right? And you want to just grade it because you have a sentimental value to it and you want to protect it and encase it and cherish it or put it up in a display. See, now that's a different reason to grade, right? That's got nothing to do with financial. So the financial motivation, if you're doing it for financial reasons because you think you have a really high quality coin, I would just go talk to some LCSs or some experts first and just say, if you go to like a coin show and you start striking up some good conversations and maybe buy a coin from them or something like that, I mean, you can ask that question, right? You can go, I have this coin. What do you think this coin's going to grade for? Just have that genuine, that honest conversation. Do you think this is worth grading? And they'll probably steer you in the right direction, right? But that's something TFT, yeah, very good question. It's something that's been on my mind a lot. And I have become what I would consider a fairly good grader of sports and trading cards. I know when a card is going to potentially be like a PSA 10 or a BGS 10 or 9.5, right, or 9, whatever. I'm pretty good at grading cards, sports cards and trading cards. I want to develop that skill with numismatic 90% half dollars, and that might be something that maybe we go on a journey with the live stream where I'm literally looking at the microscope. And we're looking at the microscope and we're trying to find, let's say, 10 high quality walkers. And what I'll do is I'll find 10 high quality walkers, and we will estimate on a spreadsheet what we think the grading will come back as, and we'll send them off for grading as a content, right? And then I will expense that as a business expense. You know what I'm saying there? Anyway, and then when they come back, we can compare how did we do? How accurate were we on our grading scale with these coins? What was something that we missed? What were defects that we didn't attribute enough of a negative rating to, right? That's how you play the game, and you learn it over time, and it's a skill. And yeah, that'd be fun to develop that skill over some time. I just haven't really gotten into the grading because it just hasn't been my thing. But I definitely think that, I'll think it'll be a fun little practice, and I think it would move us in that direction of learning about numismatics. And I can tell you this, shopping on them on eBay, I do buy like some, higher graded proofs and higher graded, ASEs and higher graded Franklins and stuff like that. I've done that. So you know, they definitely demand a premium. Even in today's market, they still demand a premium over spot for a decent grade or proof or something like that. That's graded very highly. I can definitely tell you that. So I think we're gonna call it there, guys. I appreciate your time. I mean, it's been absolutely great to have this conversation with you guys again and to see you guys back in the channel. I truly do appreciate the time that you guys give me. Again, no shill zone. I'm not somebody's gonna ever like pump out videos just to feed a sponsorship requirement. I'm not somebody's gonna pump out videos to sell my own heavy bags or promote something that I'm affiliated with. If I do a video, it's just because I genuinely have a fire in the belly to talk about something with you guys. I'm gonna do my best to always give you my fair, honest opinion. You can believe it, you can agree with it, disagree with it, listen, hang out, talk about music and whatever the heck else you guys talked about tonight. I appreciate each and one of you being here. If you want to support what we're doing, consider becoming a channel member, dropping a super chat. Otherwise, I just ask that you click the like button and subscribe to the videos, or subscribe to the channel and share the videos when you can. That's it. Thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. Again, the book of the day, or book of the month, if you want to, is The Game of Life and How to Play It. We're going to be reading this over the next couple of days, and I will let you guys know what I think about it. Appreciate you guys very much, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
One more time, Joe Migo.
Thank you very much for gifting the jewels there. Appreciate it. Thank you.